Welcome fans and foes, viewers and haters. I'm your raging Canadian and here's today's review. You know YouTube, I'm sure that many of us have our New Year's resolutions for 2010. So I thought, why don't I share my 2010 resolution with you? What I want to do differently for 2010 is give my own take on films of the past by having some simple movie marathons throughout the year. Specifically, what I want to do is have my own reviews on film franchises that I've watched and let you know what I thought of them. So our first movie marathon for 2010 will be the X-Men film trilogy, starting of course with the first film, X-Men. Yeah, I know. Duh! The premise of X-Men is somewhat simple. Across the world, random individuals are diagnosed with mutated abnormalities that give them special powers. There are some mutants who believe that their species and humanity can coexist, like the telepathic Charles Xavier, played by Patrick Stewart. And then there are other mutants that believe that humans will only oppress them, such as the Magneto, played by Sir Ian McKellen. The plot revolves around the mutant X-Men, Cyclops, Storm, and Jean Grey, fighting against Magneto's Brotherhood of Mutants that have gained a particular interest in a loner named Rogue and an even lonerer loner named Wolverine. With this plot comes a lot of interesting characters, with a bunch of them having good personalities and motivations. Hugh Jackman is Wolverine, the big hack and slash and killing machine bad boy, but he's also able to step out of that stereotype. He shows a tender side to a character like Rogue because he can relate to her since neither of them are really sure where they belong in the world or who they really are. You don't get a lot of mushy scenes, you get scenes that you can understand from a guy of his demeanor. Then there's the antagonist Magneto, who is just so intriguing. This is a guy who wholeheartedly believes he's fighting the good fight and not doing any of it for personal gain. He's a man who has seen firsthand what persecution and intolerance can do from people in power, and he doesn't want to see that happen to any mutant. If anything, I'd say he is less dark than most of the guys who work for him. I think one of the things that works so well with Magneto is Sir Ian McKellen's Shakespearean background. His presence is so three-dimensional, and his acting makes him seem so intimidating. You have to remember, this guy looks like he's in his mid-70s, and he still feels like someone who wouldn't hesitate to gut you alive if you got in his way. Then it comes to major characters like Cyclops and Storm, and both of them seem to take a back seat when it comes to focus. Compared to people like Wolverine or Rogue, who I suppose embody the audience's perspective, they don't seem to have as thorough personalities. The film's script and its dialogue is well written, and the pacing of the story goes at a very comfortable speed. Director Bryan Singer also gives the film a tone that feels like it's down to earth, but still exciting. Remember, this was Marvel's first big movie to hit the screen. I love the action and stunts in this movie, and I thought that casting actor/stuntman Ray Park was a superb choice. I don't think you could ever have terrible fight scenes from that guy. Following the action also came some visual effects, but for the most part, they only seemed to be used as a last resort. But when they were good, but they could have been a bit better. One of the best things I like about this movie is its music, which ranges from emotional and suspenseful in scenes and maintains a good balance between it and the actors. Now, when you look at the theme of the movie, you see its acceptance, but it only really seems to be half filled by the end of the story. I mean, by the end, the mutants still have a lot of major problems on their hands, and the world doesn't seem to show any sign of improving towards it. So what does the audience have to really learn? This also leads to another problem, which is most of the story arcs being left up in the air. They don't really get resolved, they just fade away when the movie ends. These characters still have issues, but no solutions. Why is that? Overall, X-Men was a good film to fire the pistol for the race of Marvel Comics movie adaptations. It was a film with a good story to start the trilogy off, the characters weren't overcrowded, and the music and action were well executed. My rating is a 7 out of 10.